So Jim, thank you very much for talking to us. You are the Labour candidate for Sleaford and North Hykeham. What was your reaction when you first found out that you were the candidate?
My reaction? I was shell-shocked initially, but yeah, I'm very pleased. I'm pleased the local party selected me to stand for them. I'm looking forward to the challenge.
What relevant experience do you think you bring to, obviously it's a big step from going from here to be a Member of Parliament. What relevant experience do you think you have?
I'm used to representing people in my work, and I think that's the same thing applies. You take up people's issues and concerns and you take them forward and represent them, don't you, to the best of your ability.
How much knowledge do you have of the local area? I mean, do you live here? Have you grown up here?
Yeah, I'm like a sticker rock, cut me in half, it says Sleaford. So yeah, I've lived all around Sleaford all my life. Went to school here. I'm married and work locally, so yeah.
Now you've got a big challenge on your hands. The Conservatives currently have a 24,000 majority. What do you think your chances are of kind of making some ground on it and even perhaps overtaking them?
I think we've got a very good chance, and we've had a very good turnout today at the rally. Why not? Why can't we? I mean, I think the local Conservatives do seem to take people's vote for granted, and it's just, same old thing. No real change, and why not? Let's have a change. Let's mix it up a bit, and let's listen to people's concerns, and let's try a different way.
You said the local Conservative Party take people's vote for granted. Do you think Stephen Phillips did by resigning?
Well, in regards to Stephen Phillips and local Conservatives, that's their business. I don't want to get him pulled in that. He's done that for whatever his reasons, and that's it. So.
What would you like to do in the local area if you are elected? What are your big plans for Sleaford and North Hykeham?
Well, ultimately it's campaigning for the NHS. I want to see, it's end of the day, door shutting and grant from A&E is about Tory funding, and they're not funding the NHS properly. That needs to be addressed, and there needs to be correct funding to provide the proper A&E services and local health services that we all need and deserve and use. And also, we need decent infrastructure. I mean, roads are terrible around here. That needs sorting out. You've got to attract jobs and houses and everything else. You need infrastructure to go with it. So I'll definitely be campaigning for that as well.
Now, we know Stephen Phillips was a Brexiteer, and the constituency or the area voted quite strongly to leave as well. What's your stance on the referendum and the EU?
Right. Well, my stance is I will vote for Article 50 and vote for Brexit, but I don't want a Brexit that hammers working people. And as it stands, there's a lot of laws that in EU law, like your paternity pay, your 28 days paid holiday, on part-time workers' rights. There's TUPE legislation, a lot of health and safety legislation. That's all in EU law. That needs to be put into British law, and so we safeguard people's working rights. And then no one's suffering with Brexit, are they? As it stands, if we just go for a Brexit and just, as I say, get rid of all the red tape and everything else, all that disappears as well. And then people are left high and dry, and it's always the fastest way to the bottom, isn't it, regarding employment rights, and that's going to take a big chunk of people's employment rights away, and I don't find that acceptable. People work hard for the money, and they should be protected.
There was a High Court ruling that gave Parliament the chance to vote on triggering Article 50. Obviously, if you're elected to Parliament, you'll be one of the MPs voting on that particular issue. What are your red lines, and when would you like to see Article 50 triggered?
Article 50 needs to be triggered, and as I said, the red lines is workers' rights. We need to make sure they just put them to British law, and then we can get on with Article 50.
And when would you like that to be triggered?
Well, as soon as possible. People want it as soon as they can, and get on with the job. I mean, Theresa May, she's dithering about at the minute, and it needs to be addressed.
Do you think the March deadline is sort of where you're looking at, really? Do you agree with the government on that?
Well, the sounds of the media and what the government's saying, that's what it sounds like, but there's no telling, is there?
So we've got about 3 weeks to go until the by-election on December the 8th. What are you going to be doing between now and then to try and win support in this area?
Well, I'm out campaigning and door knocking. I was doing door knocking yesterday, this morning, and out and about on the doors. I'm asking people's opinions and seeing what they think. And obviously asking them to vote and support me.
And you think you've got a good chance?
Why not? What's going on in the political world at the minute? Why not? Why don't I stand a good chance?